Diablo 4 did something stupid again.
Back to the news today, something a little bit different because this is a response video to Blizzard Entertainment, because yes,
Okay.
the lads from the Diablo team sort of responded to a story that I suppose we essentially were the genesis of. It was a fairly interesting situation. Now, to give you a quick catch up on this, right? A survey went out to some players, and this survey contained just a whole bunch of information of, what would you prefer in various different editions of a new Diablo expansion. It's the kind of market research that companies like this do absolutely all the time, and if
No. In reality, this survey was not what you would prefer. This survey is purely, if we would have shafted you real hard, how hard do you want to get shafted? This is essentially the only thing this survey does.
a few of the things in the survey, to our minds, well, they were rather concerning. They absolutely represented the sort of thing that Diablo 4 players would not want, and, as I said in the video, things that we think Diablo 4 developers would absolutely not want. Well, it turns out this story...
The Diablo 4 developers don't care. The company trying to nickel and dime the players has absolutely no impact, or should have no impact, on how the developers are making the game. Trust me, no one at the top of Blizzard is yelling at some developer and saying, Bobby Kotick told us to make the game version more microtransactions. No. They're saying add microtransactions, add a stupid looking bad battle pass that no one wants to buy. That's it. Then do your thing. No one's telling the developers make the game worse. The developers are typically never affected by these sort of microtransaction things. Okay?
rather exploded. So we covered it. Then it got what I call citation circles, where one of the big news websites covers your video, and then another place cites them covering it, and then it just spreads across everywhere. So now if you type in Diablo survey into Google News, we've got Metro UK, Game Rant, The Gamer, PC Games N, Kotaku, Dexerto, VG247, and many others. Interestingly, though, they all far more went with the headline, considers £100 Diablo 4 expansion in leaked survey. And
well, to be fair, that's exactly what they are considering. Make no mistake in this situation. If Blizzard can consider something more expensive and less expensive, which one do you think they will consider more? Yeah, the more expensive one. Shocking.
Allegedly surveyed about a $100 expansion, so rather than go with the angle of the stash space, it does seem that the various fan sites thought that the $100, £100 headline would be the bigger ticket thing to get those clicks. Of course, not to be outdone,
Well, honestly, it's not even, the better headline, it's the more truthful headline. Because no one currently cares about stash space almost in this game.
Editing team behind Asmongold TV certainly did do what they do, which is release the Asmongold reaction video to our video entitled Blizzard is Milking Diablo 4. Now, some things, of course, to be aware of here.
That's a name that always works for clicks, it's true. Also, I guess the more accurate sentence would be Asmongold's editing team finally decided to add a thumbnail to a video. Have you seen his video thumbnails recently? Bro, they don't even add thumbnails for videos anymore. It's kind of crazy what he pays them for tens of thousands a month.
Here, this is not about an action that Blizzard have taken. This is about the contents of a survey. Milking D4, are they? Will they?
Yes. When has Blizzard not done something along these lines when they did a survey? The first time they added pay-to-win microtransaction close in World of Warcraft, they also did a survey for that, if I'm not mistaken. They have done pretty much a survey for everything like this, always. So if you see a survey for Blizzard trying to nickel and dime their audience, it's happening at some point. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but Probably in a month or two. Bam.
At least insofar as selling stash space, doesn't seem that that's a thing that's going to be happening right now, and we'll get to that. So the combo of that title, that thumbnail, and the eminently clickable face of one Mr. Sakrar, that did all, of course, lead to this getting 535,000 views, basically within like a day and a half, 2 days. I imagine it will go pretty damn far. Then, of course, the Diablo 4 developers actually had a live stream planned for the 30th of November. This is the live stream, and today it's time to talk about their response to us, as well as the other things that are going on with Diablo 4 in this video that is powered by our members at bellular.ghost.io. There, they've been getting early access to our content, and they've also been getting Loading Screen, which is the newsletter that we publish every single weekday, where basically you will know everything that's going on about the news. Also, we're all hanging out over on our over in the Members Lounge Discord server, which is all very fun, and it is said, let's talk about what happens. So, does Diablo 4 plan to add pay for power? Basically, no. No is the developer response.
Hey, okay. No as the developer response, that's kind of counterintuitive, counter everything you said actually before. Previously you said, oh, this is not what the developers want, insinuating that all of this is coming from the higher ups, that the developers don't get a choice in what's actually going to be put in the game, this specific thing wise, right? And now the developer, who you previously established that has no power in your own worldview, is saying, oh, don't worry about it. And you're like, oh, well, you heard that. The developer that has no power to make these decisions has said no, so it's not happening. That's not a good take.
They recapped the implemented and currently planned changes they have for stash space in the game, and they said, no, we've been very clear about this, and it continues to be true. And this is 100% the case, because in our original video, we pointed out how their global public relations director stated no pay for power in the game. And we were essentially just trying to say, listen, we're not saying the developers want to do this, but it is in a market research survey, and therefore we should make our voices heard that this is not the sort of thing that we will really sort of tolerate. You know,
the Blizzard audience has proven time and time again that they're stupid. Like, Blizzard would not send you out surveys with price options if people were not clicking the biggest one. Okay? I don't understand these people who are so stupid. They're not even rich. Some people are unironically there getting that survey while having their 5-minute break in McDonald's because they live for minimum wages, and they're like, if Blizzard gave me this option to buy this thing, would I play 60, 70, or $100? Well, I guess I would pay 100. I do not understand these absolute these insane people who click on anything but the lowest price option. It's completely crazy. Why are you so anti-yourself? Why do you actively try to hurt yourself? Why do you do that?
Going on in the game. So ultimately what we have here is no plans for paid for power, no plans for stash space being paid for, and this is excellent because what we have is a full denial from the Diablo 4 development team. And that means that if any suit wants to change this and perhaps go with some of the more dastardly seeming things from that survey, well, they're going to basically step on a very large landmine, just that I suppose unlike
they don't care. Blizzard has done this type of stuff before, and guess what? They release a 30-second trailer of something cool and everyone forgets about it. It's true. The people playing Blizzard games on average are so lost in the sauce it's not even funny anymore. They get mad, and yet they put everything in the shopping cart and press checkout. It's crazy.
Landmine the whole.
So why would Blizzard not do this? Time and time and time again, Blizzard have been proven that they can do whatever they want, that they can abuse the player base as they want, however they want, for how much they want, for how long they want, and they will literally never see any punishment for this. And Blizzard they have multiple times already done this, by the way, said no, and then literally a day later implement what they said won't happen. This is nothing new for Blizzard. Why are you taking their word for it?
Point here is it's not secret. It will be very clear that this will be a betrayal not only of their global PR director, not only of various things they've said, but also the very direct words of some of their more senior developers in this video. So,
and how does it matter? Like, dude, these guys betraying us? I don't care. I'm constantly rooting for everyone in the head honcho roles of Diablo 4 development to get fired. I unironically want everyone on Diablo 4 team to be fired because they don't even play their own game. They have no idea what's happening, why it's happening, how it's happening, and why things are good and bad. Okay? They give you a gem tab, so you have more space in your inventory, and in the exact same breath, the exact same sentence, in the exact same moment, they also add 10 more things that clutter up your bag space, and because they don't understand why they're doing things. I want them fired. I don't care if these people break their promises. I don't want these people around in the first place.
Overall, what this represents is basically a big old community win, and while they may be frustrated that our video, I suppose, led to this story, in a way, I do think this is good for the developers because it gives them a solid opportunity to directly say no to the rumor mill. Obviously, in the response, they were not able to say anything about where this story came from. They weren't able to talk about the market survey and perhaps put that survey into context, which is what we did in our video. They can basically just say that they have no plans. Now, could this sort of thing change? Yeah, look, it could. There are many instances of people saying no cash shop, no this, no that, and, you know, a few years passes and that sort of thing happens. But at the very least, this is a...
With Blizzard, you're lucky if a few years pass. I mean, we're talking about Blizzard. We're lucky if they say no to pay to win, and 3 hours later it doesn't get implemented, honestly, at this point.
Good win for us for now. Now, you might be thinking, is this just some fake drama? Why did you guys bring it up? What's going on? Well, basically, do I trust the actual developers themselves? Like, you know, as people? Yes, I do. Do I trust some arms of management at that company? The answer there is no, I do not. I do not trust these companies to not betray their developers. Another story going on is the insane Destiny 2 starter pack that is such a bad value that it's basically scamming new players, sort of entirely predicated on them not having game knowledge and not being able to place the contents of that starter pack within the correct context. Of course, that's been reverted, but that's just a really good example of every dev on that Bungie team probably thinks that this is a terrible idea and it never should have happened, but they were betrayed.
No. Destiny 2 players have been eating shit for far too long to care about this. My take on the situation from everything I saw about the Destiny 2 starter pack, honestly, is that people are not mad because it's pay to win. People are mad because it's not good enough to be pay to win, okay? As much as my understanding is from everyone on the community and everyone that commented about this, because there's multiple videos I did about this subject, it seems that the Destiny player base has spoken, and the not hugely majority opinion, but the majority opinion is that pack is bad because it's not good enough pay to win. That the pack should have been more pay to win value, okay? And that's the negative side of the pack.
Betrayed by their leadership. So I do not trust the leadership to not betray the developers. And you may say, well, some of the people in this video are leaders. I would say, yes, totally. But perhaps when it comes to the money, they won't be calling every single shot. And indeed,
when it comes to the money, you're not calling a single shot. As I have always said, because I'm a proud part of finance. We at finance dictate what matters. Go into any company and ask which is the most important department. Go into a gaming developer company and ask which is the most important department. They will tell you all kinds of stupid shit. But you know which department never doesn't get what they want? We always get what we want. You can't defy us. If you defy us, you're fired. Okay? There's not even two questions about this. Finance. Okay? If we say you're gonna add this, you add this. If we say you need to cut expenses by 15% by the end of the month, which is impossible and we know it, you find a way to do it. We tell you what you do, knowing nothing about your circumstances, and you do it. Unless you want finance to say that you're incompetent, and guess what, sweet cheeks? You're clapped. You're out the door. Finance, baby. Go to a programming. Go to a hardcore programmer style type of business. Finance dominates even that. You think your programmers are the ones who are actually important in the business that does programming? No, it's the people at finance still. We control the world.
Sort of thing, these market surveys can be relevant. A really good example here is the changes in the monetization of World of Warcraft Classic that came in with TBC Classic, which of course they were kind of signposted by some surveys that leaked, and that does mean that it is relevant, it is right to talk about it, and it is a newsworthy story. But now that we are here with Diablo 4, I will recap some of the other things that have went on. So, what's basically happening is on December 12th, they've got a new event coming in called Midwinter Blight, where a storm has descended in the Fractured Peaks, a new threat has emerged. We meet this kind of...
Wow, this looks a lot different with the color change. Cool
looking bard character, and we fight the Red Cloak Terror, who certainly does not look like a man popularized by the Coca-Cola Company. But there you go. Yes, the Red Cloak horror boss honestly does look pretty cool. The way this works is you kill mobs in and around that area in the Fractured Peaks. You'll get some trophies.
Okay, so at least these are better reskins than previously. Because, well, and Path of Exile adds actual new mobs with, the seasons. And even if they're reskins of old mobs, they add something new to them. Blizzard just adds reskins of old mobs, and that doesn't do anything. All of these are, again, yet reskins. Multi-billion-dollar company, by the way, everyone. Let that sink in.
You can take those back and you can turn those into cosmetics. So, all seems fairly reasonable, and also there's a 10% XP elixir that works everywhere that can come from this event as well.
Wow.
Lots of XP, which, by the way, Season 2 has a hell of a lot more XP floating around than Season 1 did.
Yeah, because the first thing they did in Season 1, as any, obviously, Blizzard tier developer would do, when people found something good, and usually good meant more XP, better drop rates, you know what the Blizzard devs did? I'll remind you in case you have forgotten. They nerfed that thing. They slashed it out of existence. The player base found something good, i.e. a better way to farm things, a better way to get experience. Congratulations, you know what the Blizzard devs are gonna do? They're gonna nerf that thing in 2 days. Fixing stuff that's not broken, months pass by. But nerfing something that people like into oblivion? Oh, you got that one, Chief. Instead of buffing things that people like them and do other things, Blizzard just destroyed things that people liked. That's how good of a company they are.
And they've also done a bunch of XP events on top of that. It's been kind of crazy. There's also the Abattoir of Zir. This is kind of interesting. This is them basically doing seasonal end game content, right?
This is a complete copy-paste from Diablo 3.
Will unlock, I believe, on the 5th of December after you finish your seasonal journey. This is a new dungeon that basically is harder than a tier 100 nightmare dungeon. It's got 25 tiers of difficulty, but the jumps between each tier will be higher than in those nightmare dungeons, and it basically exists to let players use all of that power that they have amassed. And yeah, that's basically what's going on. It is something there for the end game. It is temporary, only in this season. They've said that one of the reasons why it's kind of done like that, it lets them vary things up, but also this is basically them testing what they'll be doing for seasonal endgame content. So I would assume they do not want to be held to the first version as some sort of thing that they've got to keep on going forever. Overall then, seems pretty decent. There is a special glyph that comes from it that gives you a multiplicative power bonus, and it also drops a hell of a lot of XP for your glyphs. Now, the new glyph will be really expensive to level up in terms of XP, which is why this event drops so much XP, but the sort of side part of...
Yeah, I don't like this concept because there's already a lot of things that devalue and undervalue almost every game mechanic currently in the game. There's so many things that you don't open and ignore until you reach World Tier 3, for example. And now, same thing with the glyphs. Why would you actually waste your time trying to level up glyphs in normal dungeons if the Abattoir just gives so much, literally multiple times more experience than the highest level dungeon? So now it's gonna be, now the end game is like this: go do everything but dungeons because it's useless, because dungeons are not even that good. Well, they are good experience, but you know, the overworld is pretty good also. So do as little dungeons as possible, because when you get to the Abattoir, you're gonna be able to max out all of your glyphs in a couple of runs. It's just Blizzard doing what Blizzard does best, and that is making their previous systems redundant with every update.
That is that if you are able to do the Abattoir of Zir, you'll get loads of XP, so you can level up your other glyphs if you want to try those out. And there are no respawns, so yeah, definitely there to be a bit harder. As for some other things, they have massive loot updates coming to the game. This I did think was quite interesting, as evidenced by their change into these damage on Tuesdays shirt. It's the idea that you maybe will get an affix in your gear that says, on Tuesdays, you do plus 30% damage, which totally makes me wonder if anybody has seen the Fizzbin scene from Star Trek, the original series, where certainly the rules of the game Fizzbin are yeah, pretty spicy. But okay, what are these changes? Well, they haven't announced them yet, but they do seem to be rather massive. Basically, there are many different affixes in the game. People obviously will want specific things, and to many, it's frustrating. You maybe have to go through 100 gloves or 200 gloves before you get the gloves that you want. So what they basically want is more ways to like customize, modify. I know there is like some re-rolling in the game, but they basically want to change that big time so that getting a cool item is more like a journey. That's how they put it. The idea, if you get a cool item and you're excited, is you'll be able to modify it and tweak it to your own ends, which seems fairly good. They then talked about how Season 2 changed many...
Seems fairly stupid, honestly. Again, the world tiers destroy all of these things, because no one's gonna use these things until World Tier 3. It's like the Vampiric Keys. You don't open coffers until level Tier 3. World Tier 4, excuse me. I always forget which is the maximum world tier because I literally could not care less. You get to World Tier 3, you open a couple of chests so you get to loot and instantaneously upgrade yourself. Congratulations. The game literally hasn't changed. You just swapped out your gear for slightly shittier but higher stated gear. And now you're just gonna use the rest of the keys when you're in World Tier 4. And there's a lot of things like that. The branding thing for gear and the 3 different vampire styles of patch that can be applied to gear. You're not doing that until World Tier 3. There are so many things like that. And there's gonna be more because of this. Good job, Blizzard.
Of the stats in the game.
Well, not more, but people are gonna not do these things until the end because of world tiers.
And the reason why they did it like that is because if you change one stat, well, it'll have knock-on effects on every other stat, so if you're gonna do changes, you kinda just have to do them all at once. And the same thing is happening with loot. This is targeted for Season 4, which will happen in 2024, and apparently they have a select group of Diablo content creators that they've been sort of consulting on with this one to get more feedback and to help them to iterate, which to me, overall, does sound pretty cool. And as an example, on the whole topic of a loot filter...
Well, it doesn't actually sound good. Most Diablo content creators are completely out of their mind insane, okay? For example, our boy Rex. Do you think Rex even understands what the average player does in Diablo 4? I don't think so. I honestly don't think he has any clue. Okay? I think he's down the pipe already. So listening to the feedback of creators is a double-ended sword, because some of them are insane, because all they do is play Diablo for 8 hours a day. Those people play Diablo 4 more in 1 day than I do in 2 weeks. Okay? We are not the same at all. Okay? The things that they find bad for the game, I haven't even encountered.
They actually said that, like, they think a loot filter is important. It's not going to happen in Season 3 because any loot filter that they do now will basically not function with the gear overhaul. So it basically seems like they're going to overhaul gear, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really good, honestly, because that's necessary.
Just some other things. In Season 3, Hell Tides will be up for 55 minutes, down for 5, and then up for 55 again. So clearly people just don't like having to wait around on the timers. That seems pretty good. They also said that item level 925 gear sources don't feel great, being Duriel and world bosses. So they want, more sources of that. And that basically...
World gear tier gear is also stupid, honestly. Because the reality is, a difference between 20 levels in the world tier gear is huge. Like, dude, if you have a weapon that somehow luckily rolled, for example, 900 gear score, you're probably not replacing that with anything ever. It's gonna be so rare that you replace it because the damage difference is just huge and massive. So the difference between a item level 900 gear piece and 925, which is the maximum, is wild. The 925 could have the perfect rolls, damage to close enemies, some kind of multipliers that you want, and the other one could have nothing. And it's still gonna be a massively stronger than the other one, just because of those 20 item levels. That's also a problem, obviously.
Is what's going on with Diablo 4. Expansion 1 to Expansion 2 is 18 months. Will it be 18 months after that? I'm not exactly sure, but certainly I imagine they want a decently Call of Duty-like business model here, where you just constantly have seasons with premium releases, and, I just think that's what they're going to be doing for the business model of this game. From what we understand, I don't know if they're the largest, but at one point they were. Basically, the D4 team is absolutely goddamn humongous. As an example, from the World of Warcraft team, they have got 2 expansion teams. So they're currently working on The War Within, they're also working in Midnight, and then they have a live team. And that's across about 600 developers. So yeah, these teams at Blizzard are absolutely ginormous, which certainly does explain the kind of goofy amount of content that WoW's been getting recently. So overall then, my thoughts are pretty simple. Diablo 4 has improved massively from Season 1 to Season 2. That's pretty much an undeniable thing. It's just going to be a case of, like, can they keep the improvement going? Will, I suppose, they have a healthy sort of state of affairs between them and Path of Exile, where there's just in general, there's so much ARPG content.
Yeah, PoE's newest patch completely is just kind of slay Diablo 4. It's unprecedentedly good, okay? And that's honestly pretty much it. This was Quizzer Sin. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.